On the 2-year anniversary of the murder of George Floyd, families who have lost a loved one to police violence, activists, and community members gathered to remember the life of George Floyd.
I've done that, but I continue to fight. And as I said, it's been almost 4 years. September 2nd will be 4 years, and not one person in my son's case has been held accountable. Sure, we've gotten legislative we passed the Hardell-Sherrill law. That's great. Now I got to do work with the jails to get them to do what they need to do to uphold and make sure that the law is being enforced. And then I've got other families that call me all the time, crying and asking and begging, please help us do something for our families, because nobody is helping us, but we see that they're listening to you. I'm just one person. I'm nobody special. I'm a grieving mother. I'm a lot of things, but I am a grieving mother. And I know George Floyd's mother, if she were alive today, she would also be just outraged, upset, beyond upset, and grieving, even though there has been justice. It doesn't stop. Even though families have gotten justice, the grieving doesn't stop, the pain doesn't stop, the fighting doesn't stop. But we need you all to stand in solidarity with all the families whose lives have been taken and should not have. Power to the people.
Has taught us, sing a song full of the hope that the presence has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
Our struggle was brought into the living rooms around the world, and we are still waiting for a response here in the state that sparked the match, igniting the outpouring of consciousness to the reality of what Black and brown people face day in and day out, not just around the state of Minnesota, but around our country. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act has stalled out in the Senate. We have a president who has not shown the strength to demand change in passage of the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. He has, however, issued an executive order changing the use of force policy for federal offices. This, however, can be pulled back with an election of a new president, making it as if it never happened. Our legislators are beholden to the past and a system that is broken and continuously breaks our back. It has been 2 years. What has changed? In one of my speeches after George Floyd was murdered, I stated that I was in a social media discussion and one of the naysayers kept speaking on the property damage, the burned buildings, and looting. He even posted photos, but I did not see what he saw. I saw the writing on the wall and the messages that said, "Can you hear us now?" My mind went to our history in the 1960s, Bloody Sunday, when our struggle was brought into the living rooms of America, and that is what it took to wake up a nation. Martin Luther King Jr., a man who gave his life for a dream, and that dream is in each and every one of us. The question is, what are you going to do with that dream? Law enforcement for decades has been pushing legislation to chip away at our liberties, our rights, and our communities by pushing policies that absolve them of their crimes, weaken and remove the checks of accountability, transparency, and justice, with access to unlimited resources and unfettered access to our elected leaders. And this is what we have been witnessing as one of the lead organizations who have been drafting and advancing policy. Only photo ops and votes failing in their very mission of service of the people.
Come on.
We should not have politicians that stop the progression of progress. We should not have politicians that fail to listen. At some point, we have to say these politicians do not give a damn about us or our people.
That's right.
My message to them is we're not going anywhere. We are going to continue to hold politicians and officials accountable.
We have to put on a cap every single day to make sure that we fit in to the community. That we are not the ones that have to, defend ourselves. We have to make sure. There's people every single day. I could walk down the street and I get stares. I can go into a grocery store and somebody just pulls their bag close to them. We are human. We bleed just like everyone else.
Come on.
We hurt just like everyone else.
No good cops in a racist system. No good cops in a racist system. No good cops in a racist system.
No good cops in a racist system.
So we got the honorable. We'll call a politician honorable if he comes out and stands for justice with us. We'll call a politician honorable if he engages in direct actions with us. And we have a politician like that here right now. We're going to bring up the Honorable Representative John Thompson. Give him a round of applause.
Hey y'all, I told my wife I wasn't coming to the governor's mansion, and here I am in front of the governor's mansion. But every time I grab a microphone and open my mouth, I see myself on the news the next day. And I just wanted to say to you, if you're not careful, the media have you believing that the oppressor is the ones that's being oppressed. And I'll say it again and again and again and again. Because we came here years ago, and we told you what the Department of Human Rights told you this year. We came here years ago and told you what the Human Rights Department told you this year. And you still tell us that we're anti-police, anti-this, anti-that. We're not anti-anything but anti-bullshit. Right. That's what we're anti. We're anti-lying. We're tired of y'all lying to us.
That's right.
Truth be told, George Floyd came here because he was homeless and he was looking for a place to stay. Right. Truth be told, George Floyd came here because he heard Minnesota has some of the best drug treatment facilities on this earth. Right. George Floyd came here for help. And we fed him fentanyl and an overdose of a knee to the neck. Yeah. And they say, I'm anti-something. Let's just be clear. I'm not going to talk about police no more because they talk about themselves and they're showing us time and time again what they do. I'm not going to forget the Catermine. I'm not going to forget that. Y'all might stop reporting about it, but I'm not. Truth be told, there's 20 white men that look just like that man in Buffalo that shot them people waiting in this crowd right now. There's news outlets right now to take our words and flip them so they can support the blue life. What is a blue life? We said black lives didn't matter. We didn't say police lives didn't matter. We said black lives matter. We didn't say blue lives didn't matter. We didn't say white lives didn't matter. We didn't say LGBTQ lives didn't matter. We just said that our lives matter.
That's right.
It's not black against white. It's good against evil.
That's right.
Good against evil. I thought, trying to be the change and show people that you can be the change and to jump into the public eye and try to make a difference that way, I would actually be somebody and show our people that we can be somebody, and they still find a way to treat me like a nigga. Pardon my bad delivery, but I remember what y'all did to me the entire year. And I'm still right here. You know why? Because these tactics you've tried on Martin Luther King, you've tried on Malcolm X, you've tried on Fred Hampton Jr. The tactics don't change, just the faces. I'll say it time and time again. I have to tone it down now. I have to tone my words down. Well, can y'all tone the violence down? Can y'all tone the violence against my community down? We should not be celebrating George Floyd's anniversary. Truth be told, we wouldn't even be here had you not killed George Floyd.
That's right.
So don't call me a liar. Don't say I'm anti-anything. I'm anti-black man getting killed by the police.
That's right.
I never thought in a million years that I'd see this profession start saying that we're the ones that are being attacked. We're the ones that are being abused. We're the ones that have PTSD. We're the ones that need to go on vacation. We're the ones that need to stop policing in Minneapolis and let them Negroes kill themselves because they're critiquing our job. I never thought I'd see that in a million years. And you can play that back on any doggone news station you want to. I never thought I'd see the day where the police would let crime run rampant in Minneapolis and blame the people. Do your job. We know you can do that job. We know you can stop the killings, the shooting, but what you'd rather do is politicize our blood. What you'd rather do is make money off our backs. I know what I'm saying. You can attack me all day. You can attack me for the rest of my life, but I tell you what, I will conform until the system conforms for my people.
He's fighting for us at the Capitol. He introduced the Minnesota Migration Act and held the first hearing on reparations ever in the state of Minnesota. So call Tim Walz, call your legislator, and tell them to pass House File 3850, the Minnesota Migration Act, which apologized for holding Dred Scott and military slavery at Fort Snelling, apologized for the Duluth lynching and the destruction of the I-94 freeway, and acknowledges what happened to Philando Castile, Hardell Sherrill, George Floyd, and commits to police accountability legislation. My sister was talking about when we go to the store how we get looked at like we're about to steal something. But not only that, the people in Buffalo went to the store. And they weren't there to steal anything. They were there just to buy goods. A lot of them were elderly. And the white supremacists came in there and murdered them. Right? So that's the ideology we're dealing with. Not only when we go to the store do we have to worry about the security thinking we're going to steal something, we also have to worry about white supremacists following us around and hunting us down and murdering us in the store, murdering our grandmas, murdering our aunties, murdering our uncles. Then we also in our schools, when our children are in schools, we got to make sure that they're not being gunned down. So let's just, we don't want to be like, oh, we're taking a moment of silence, but let's just take a moment of reflection about all the people who are being killed in schools or in grocery stores by white supremacists. Just about 30 seconds.
There's been over 470 murders at the hands of law enforcement since the year 2000. The father of my son was one of those men that were murdered here and shed blood on these streets. Hardell Sherrill, Miss Delshia's son, was one of those men that was murdered in this state. And we say that George Floyd was the face. He represents those killings. What you see with George Floyd was a mild version of what some of our families have had to endure and live through. And just like George Floyd was the face of hundreds of murders here in the state of Minnesota and thousands around the world, Derek Chauvin was the face of hundreds of killer cops that are still out there, that are going home to their families after they take our loved ones away from us, after the fathers to our children don't make it home, after our sons don't make it home, they go home to their children. I think about how Derek Chauvin lived out in Oakdale, and he passed the Oakdale Police Department. He passed the St. Paul Police Department. He passed the White Bear Lake Police Department. He passed the Maplewood Police Department. He passed all the Roseville Police Department. He passed all of those police departments to make it out to Minneapolis to murder George Floyd and to go back to Oakdale, Minnesota, a suburb where he called home.
Has taught us, sing a song full of the hope that the presence has brought us, facing the rising sun of our new day begun. Let us march on till victory is won.
All right, everybody. And as usual, we're going to close out with the Asada speech. We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to fight for our freedom.
We have a duty to win.
We have a duty to win.
We must love and support one another.
We must love and support one another.
We have nothing to lose but our chains.
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 All power to the people.
All power to the people.
Thank you.
This has been a Black Watch Television News Update.